Hey students, welcome to Bridge Academy of Undergraduate Global Affairs Crash Course, Unit 1. Understanding International Relations, Lesson 2, Nature of International Relations. After completing this lesson, you will be able to describe the meaning of international relations. Introduction: International relation is not just a subject you learn in school. It is part of our everyday life in a world that is more connected every day. Whether you're watching a show like Friends from another country, traveling from one place to another, or buying fair trade coffee to help people far away, you're involved in it. Even your job, whether it's with a big global company or a small local one, can be affected by international rules like trade or taxes. This lesson will explain what international relations means, how it has changed over time, and why it's important for everyone to understand. By learning about it, you can better figure out the news and join discussions about big world issues. International relations touches our lives in many simple ways. For example, an Ethiopian student watching Neighbors gets to know a different culture, while flying to a place like Washington, D.C. means following global air travel rules and adding a little to climate change. Choosing fair trade coffee helps support people in another country, and working anywhere means dealing with laws that cross borders. This shows how linked we are to the rest of the world. Studying international relations helps us make sense of news from TV, radio, or newspapers. It reminds us that we're not just part of our towns or villages, but also part of bigger groups like regions, nations, and states. As part of this global family, we need to know our rights and duties and be ready to talk about important topics like climate change or peace. The idea of international relations began long ago. The term was first used by Jeremy Bentham in 1798, and it started as part of studying law, philosophy, or history. After the terrible World War I, people wanted to understand why wars happened and how to stop them, which led to the first university course on it in 1919 at the University of Wales. Different countries have their own ways of looking at it, so there's no one perfect definition. Today, it includes all kinds of interactions between people, companies, nations, or groups across the world. Things like taking a holiday abroad, sending mail overseas, or even picking who hosts the Olympics might seem personal, but they can affect relationships between countries. Big events like wars, climate meetings, or crime also play a huge role, and since these things shape our lives, we need to learn more about them. No one can avoid being part of international relations. No person, group, or country can live completely on their own or control everything. Even the strongest nations need help from others to grow or stay safe. The world is like a big group with no single leader, where every country is just a small part of humanity. This means everyone has to work with people from other places. But international politics is different from local politics. At home, laws are enforced by police and courts, and the government has the power to act. Internationally, there's no one in charge, so it's more about each country helping itself, with some being stronger than others. People also have different ideas about what's fair, which makes politics tricky but important. Sometimes local problems become global ones. For instance, diseases like SARS or bird flu started in one place but turned into worldwide issues, changing how countries work together. This shows how complicated international relations can be. Studying it helps us go beyond just hearing the news. It lets us ask why things happen, what caused them, and what might happen next. Experts use ideas from thinkers like Hobbes, who saw the world as a scary place, or Locke, who thought people could work together peacefully, to understand it better. These different views still guide how we study it today. It's also about balancing power and finding peaceful ways to solve disagreements, like avoiding fights like the 2003 Iraq War. The world of international relations keeps growing. In 1800, there were no global organizations, but now we have the United Nations with nearly 192 countries and many groups for things like trade or health. This growth shows how much we depend on each other for ideas, goods, and help. But power isn't the same for everyone, and countries still use negotiation or pressure. Keeping order in this busy, leaderless world is a big part of international politics, and it needs teamwork despite differences. Summary: international relation is about how connected we are to the world and how it affects us every day. It started with studies of law and history, but grew after World War I to help us understand wars and global issues. It includes everything from personal choices like travel to big events like climate talks, showing how local actions can matter globally. Even though there's no single boss internationally, and power varies, learning about it helps us understand conflicts, cooperation, and the growing number of countries and organizations. By studying international relations, we can better handle the world's challenges and maybe even help make it better. Review questions and answers on understanding international relations. 1. What is the meaning of international relations, and how is it relevant to everyday life? Answer: international relations is the study of interactions between people, companies, nations, or groups across the world. It involves everything from personal actions like traveling abroad or buying fair trade coffee to global events like wars or climate meetings. It's relevant to everyday life because it affects our jobs through global trade or tax laws, cultural exposure, watching foreign shows like Friends, travel following international air travel rules, and even health global responses to diseases like SARS. Understanding it helps us make sense of world news and participate in discussions about global issues like peace or climate change. 2. How did the concept of international relations evolve historically? Answer: the term international relations was first used by Jeremy Bentham in 1798 and initially was studied as part of law, philosophy, or history. After the devastation of World War I, the need to understand the causes of wars and prevent future conflicts led to the establishment of the first university course on international relations in 1919 at the University of Wales. Over time, it expanded to include diverse interactions between individuals, organizations, and nations covering topics like trade, travel, and global cooperation, reflecting the growing interconnectedness of the world. 3. Why is international relations considered a global phenomenon that no one can avoid? Answer: international relations is a global phenomenon because no person, group, or country can live in complete isolation or control everything independently. Even powerful nations rely on others for trade, security, or resources. Everyday activities like sending mail overseas, traveling, or consuming global products involve international interactions. Global issues like climate change, pandemics, or trade rules further connect everyone, making participation in international relations unavoidable. 4. How does international politics differ from domestic politics? Answer: international politics differs from domestic politics because there is no central authority or world government to enforce laws globally, unlike domestic systems where governments, police, and courts maintain order. Internationally, countries act in their self-interest, with some being more powerful than others, and cooperation relies on negotiation or pressure. Additionally, differing cultural and ethical views on fairness make international politics more complex and less structured than domestic politics. 5. What are some examples of local problems that can become global issues, and why does this matter? Answer: examples include diseases like SARS or bird flu, which start in one region but spread worldwide, affecting global health and cooperation. These issues matter because they show how interconnected the world is. Local events can have far-reaching impacts, requiring countries to work together. Studying international relations helps us understand the causes, consequences, and solutions to such problems, enabling better global responses. 6. How do different philosophical perspectives influence the study of international relations? Answer: philosophical perspectives shape how we understand international relations. For example, Thomas Hobbes viewed the world as a dangerous place where conflict is natural, leading to theories focused on power and self-interest. John Locke believed people could cooperate peacefully, influencing ideas about diplomacy and collaboration. These perspectives guide scholars in analyzing global conflicts, cooperation, and strategies for maintaining peace, such as avoiding wars like the 2003 Iraq War. 7. Why has the scope of international relations expanded over time? Answer: the scope of international relations has expanded due to increasing global interconnectedness. In 1800, there were no global organizations, but today, institutions like the United Nations with nearly 192 member countries and groups for trade or health exist. This growth reflects the need for cooperation on issues like trade, health, climate change, and security. As countries, organizations, and individuals interact more, international relations now covers personal actions like travel and global events like climate talks. 8. What role does power play in international relations, and how is it balanced? Answer: power is unequal in international relations, with some countries having more influence due to wealth, military strength, or resources. There's no single global leader, so countries use negotiation or pressure to achieve their goals. International relations involves balancing power through diplomacy, treaties, or organizations like the UN to maintain order and resolve conflicts. Studying it helps us understand how cooperation is achieved despite power differences, promoting stability in a leaderless world. 9. How does studying international relations help us go beyond just hearing the news? Answer: studying international relations allows us to analyze the causes of events, causes of global issues, and predict potential outcomes, rather than just passively consuming news. It equips us to ask critical questions: why did this happen? Or what might happen next? By understanding the interactions between countries, organizations, and people, we can engage in informed discussions about topics like climate change, peace, or global trade and contribute to solutions. 10. Why is the United Nations an important example of global cooperation in international relations? Answer: the United Nations, with nearly 192 member countries, is a key example of global cooperation, because it brings together almost all countries to address common issues like peace, health, trade, and climate change. It shows how countries depend on each other and work through negotiation despite power differences. The UN's growth from no global organizations in 1800 to a major institution today highlights the increasing importance of teamwork in managing a complex, interconnected world. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more lessons. See you next time.